Hey guys, it's Dave Winnington here. Today we're going to talk about importing video into Omnivex Moxie Studio and turning the background transparent. In order to do that, we're going to use a bit of Adobe After Effects in combination with Moxie Studio. I'm just going to grab the animation now and move it so you can see that it doesn't affect the background by moving it around. It's completely transparent. We can see through all the holes here. Now, if you haven't used Adobe After Effects before, don't get too intimidated. We're not going to be doing anything too complicated. All we're really going to be doing is creating a video and prepping it for export in such a way that we can then drag it into Omnivex Studio and add the effect to it that makes the background transparent. So in this case, all that's really important is the prep work, and then after that, we'll have a really cool video in the end. So let's jump into Adobe After Effects right now. Alright, so here we are in After Effects. You can see I created this little animation for Earth Day. I'm not entirely sure when Earth Day even is, but I guess I had some holidays on the brain. So, well, you know, this is pretty non-denominational, so it's not a bad start. It's a pretty simple animation. Again, like, don't be too intimidated by After Effects. This isn't really a tutorial about how to use After Effects. It's really just about how to prep a video in After Effects to export in such a way that Moxie can make the background transparent. This specific composition is 1920 by 1080, so it's HD. What we're going to do now is we're going to create a new composition and drop this composition into that one. All right, now why would you want to do that? Well, there's a really specific reason for that, and that's because the way that Moxie handles transparency is a little different than what you might expect. So let's do a new composition. By default, this new composition says it's going to be 1920 by 1080, which is the sort of the size of this current composition. Let's do something really crazy here, and we're going to double the width of it. So just sort of bear with me here. I'm going to do ×2. Alright, so we're going to double the width of this composition. So now we got a new composition. We can see it's twice as wide here. So what are we going to do with this? It looks like a banner now. Well, I'll sort of explain this as we go, but basically Moxie uses a masking system. It takes things that are white and makes them visible, and things that are black and makes them invisible, and it does that by basically cutting the video in half and then folding one on top of the other. This will become a bit more clear as I get into it. So let's take our globe composition, drop it in. Now we can see our globe composition. It's right in the middle. It's not exactly where we want it. So let's actually bump it all the way over to the left right now. So let's do the position. I'm going to zero out that position. Here it is, all the way over to the left. Now I'm going to duplicate my composition. Control D. And I'm going to move its position over. All right, so we're going to bring up P, bring its position. I'm going to move it to 1920. 1920 is actually the midpoint of our new composition because this composition is double 1920 by 1080. So here we go. Now we've got two compositions that are side by side. And now why did we do that? It just seems like a silly thing to do. Well, that's because we're going to alter this composition on the right to turn it into a matte. Now, there's a lot of ways to do that. You can do it with black and white. You can do it with tint. I'm going to use tint in this case. Drag tint on top. There we go. I'm going to make matte black to white. There we go. So now I've created a video here, which if we play it, it's the same thing. It's a globe that's spinning, except on the right side, nothing's really happening. But what this actually is a hole. It's going to be a hole that's cut out, that's going to be laid on top of this, and we're going to be able to see what's behind that hole, and all this black stuff's going to vanish. All right, now before we export this video, I got one little trick I'm going to show you. I'm not sure why, but Omnivex doesn't really cut this exactly in half. I found if you sort of line up the edges the way I've sort of shown you that you get a sort of a bit of an overlap on this sort of cutout. So what I like to do is actually click on the right hand side image and I take the arrow key and I bump it over one. It brings about 1916. I'm not entirely sure why that works. It does. You can probably fiddle with the numbers a little bit. It might be 1918 somewhere for you. I would suggest you probably have to export it once or twice to see if it lines up perfectly. But anyway, that's my little tip of the day. But anyway, let's export this now and then we'll jump back into Moxie. I've already uploaded the video to my data server. So let's just go ahead and open up our media. Create a little box here. Navigate to it. It's actually Globe MP4. Yes. And there it is. It looks great, right? Actually, no, it doesn't look great. It looks exactly the same way it was in After Effects. It's not transparent at all. Dave, you promised me transparent backgrounds. Well, that's because we haven't added a property to it yet. All right, so let's just jump into the properties. I'm going to double click. If you don't want to double click, you can click on the properties up here. From here, what we're going to do is don't go to transparency. I know you're thinking, oh, let's go to transparency and some magic's going to happen. No, you're actually going to add an effect. We're going to go to effect. We're going to go add. We're going to come down here to transparent masking. Transparent masking done. Close, close, and there it is. It's a video playing in a loop. Transparent background. We can drag it over top of everything. We can put it wherever we want. Cover up the events. All right, so to recap, All you really have to do is take an existing video that you have, bring it into a video editing program, double its width, take one side of it, specifically the right side of it, turn it black and white, make things that are white things you want to see and things that are black things you want to be invisible, export the file, bring it into Moxie Studio, and then adjust that one thing. Effect transparent masking. That's all you need to do. Once you've set that, there you go. You've got a video with transparent masking. There's lots more you can do with that, and maybe I'll touch on that in additional tutorials, but for now, that's it. That's your video on importing video into Moxie with transparent backgrounds. Thanks for watching.